What's going on, everybody? As always, this is Lord PeteyTV. We're here to talk to you all about our heroic Nexus King Salhadaar community kill. So what we're going to end up doing here is I'm actually tanking for once. I'm actually not DPSing. So what we ended up doing was we ended up splitting the group pretty much into three. All of the DPS is in one group sitting in the center. The tanks are sitting on the outside. We're dealing with the rotation of the Conqueror and the Vanquish, the debuffs, sending those out to the group. And as we're doing that, we're trying to make sure that the Conqueror is going onto the DPS, I guess you could say. Now, these are the razor blades, or as I call them, the nails that they have to get pulled out of the group while that's happening. And then we got the banishments, which is kind of that are going to be coming up now, which is more of a it's almost like a debuff that's placed in the group. And then we have breaths that are going to be sent out around the room. These are the soaks. Once again, we got to make sure that those go onto the group, and then they're not hitting us. And the Vanquish is going to go out. And then we end up dealing with the other one there. And we kind of go through this rotation 3 times in a row. It's not too difficult once you get the pattern down for this portion of the fight. Claws are going to go out. And we're going to continue to DPS our hardest here and kind of go through our system. Now, after this all goes, we go into stage 2, which is about 30 seconds. We're going to end up having to deal with some more stuff. Now, prior to this, we ended up splitting the raid into 2 groups. So one will go north and one will go south, essentially. Now, the trick with the tanks is making sure that you taunt before the other cast goes off. You'll see that the taunt option tells us kind of when to do so. And now we are good. Raid-wide damage coming out. We have to make sure we're ready for that. So I end up popping a defensive, making it a little easier on the healers. And now this is the knockback for phase 2, so everyone kind of just spreads out. And then after that happens, we're going to get this big old dragon. Everyone needs to make sure they're DPSing the dragon at this point, because at the end of, I guess you could say, phase 2-ish, you're going to end up having the Voidwing and also the boss of the Nexus King is going to actually combine. So here we're going to be going through, dealing with all of the damage being sent out. Here's the beams. You want to make sure you watch out for that. You're going to also, the portals, they're going to be assigned to people. Make sure that they run them out to the edge of the room. Here's the intermission. So we're going to end up making sure. I got a little confused on the direction, and we ended up going there. I went into Mythic Plus phase because this was our biggest issue, me essentially holding aggro. So I actually had people MD me. I ended up making sure I group taunted. I made sure that I used Trip to essentially hold them in place. Just enough time for myself to get enough aggro to kind of just deal with everybody else. I think that right now everyone should be attacking the Titan in the middle of the room. He is the one that is going to be dealing the most damage. So you really want to be careful of that. You want to make sure you're dealing with that, because if that doesn't die, then you don't end up getting to the next phase. This is the dodge portion where you want to make sure you watch your feet. And then you're going to have some beams that are going to be getting sent around the room. And you're going to want to end up, essentially killing that guy. And now we're going to go to the next portion. And we're going to get right back into the center. And we're going to do this. Now, you can see we have markers sent out around the room. What's going to end up happening is the tanks are going to be placing in one specific position. And then the melee goes to one side, and the range will go to another side. And the reason for that is kind of an easier spread for the, this is the move. What's going to end up happening is this is going to allow us to deal with the orbs better later, and the suck that we're going to end up getting pulled in for. So you're going to want to keep an eye on that. So we're just continuing to DPS here as hard as we possibly can. And that's the portals. So you can watch out for the beams. And here we're going to go into intermission. This intermission is where we're going to lust, and we're going to DPS damage as hard as we possibly can. And we're going to try to bring that dragon down as far as we can so that the HP is very, similar. This is a great cleave fight if you have a class that, is pretty decent at doing so. But overall, single target is the better. If you have, like, so let's say a druid, where you can drop moonfires on both or whatever, sure. But for the most part, you want to just focus damage on the Voidwing. As you can see here, we got him down to Was it 20, 20, 19, something like 18, something like that. 17, 16, and it, you know, gets absorbed into the other person, and it's the same amount of health. This is the portion where you want to make sure you're going to go to the edges to deal with the circles, and you'll see here comes the smashes, which means that guy's going to jump over there, and I'm going to kind of taunt him and pull him back into the center. And then this is the spikes you have to dodge. So while you're doing this, you're kind of just watching your feet, watching the dodge. The intention is to try to stay close to the center because there's the least amount of movement, because there's a lot of more circles around there. So I'm trying to, you know, not move him nearly as much. Here's the star killers. You want to point those things at the crystals, and you end up killing them and destroying them. And you need to destroy them, because if you don't, it ends up killing the raid. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching these videos. I greatly appreciate it. I work really, really hard on them. Make sure you want to support the channel. Subscribe, all that fun stuff. We're going to get some more members stuff coming out. And, we're just going to continue doing that stuff. But thank you so much. We're going to continue these videos. So, and just want to say thank you very much for the team and for the community for being able to do this, because it's a lot of fun to do them every week when we're down in bosses. So it's great. Here's another time we ended up having those portals, because it ends up pulling you in, essentially. And now we're going to end up trying to DPS this guy, and we're going to make sure we're kiting and moving. And we almost didn't get this kill overall, because you'll end up seeing a lot of people starting to die. So we start like losing healers here and there. So here is got to destroy those stars at the end. And make sure people are not in the line of the stars, or they will get hit and probably killed. I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of people end up getting hurt or dying, because people start aiming for the same stars. So right now we have 3 healers dead and a bunch of DPS. So we just start going at it, and they're at 2%. And I just kept my fingers crossed, popping all cooldowns I could possibly do to live. And I was like, we're making this. We're going to get this kill. So we ended up getting that, and we ended up getting them down. Congrats, everybody.